Yo, what's good? I promise much more consistent content on a regular basis. I've just been adjusting to some things in my life. Work schedule's been all over the place. Y'all already know. If you live in this adult life, y'all know how crazy it can be. But we in here. Now, a couple months ago, 2 months to be exact, or just about, around New Year's, I had dropped a video on what is power scaling because people, don't know what the hell it is. They be talking a bunch of nonsense. Y'all know how the typical stuff goes. And these cancerous sections of the community that just be speaking all kinds of foolishness and being hypocrites in themselves. Check the Cybercut collabed with Seth the Programmer, and on Seth's channel they dropped a phenomenal video that addressed a lot of this cancer, and I'm so glad about it. So I'm glad I waited and held off on that one. But in this video, which has been in my thoughts for a while, and then I'm like, oh dang, I not done it. I've thought about it, and a couple times I meant to it, and I was just like, never got around to actually dropping the video. I'm like, damn, what is wrong, bro? Let's finally get this thing out there. I think it's enough time that's been marinating. So, the three types of power scaling, all right? Because yes, as with most things, especially if they are on a broad if they're on a spectrum or a broad subject, even if the subject isn't totally expensive, because usually the more expensive or the more technical, the term more can be broken down from it. There are three types. All right, you have what I will call feats. It's not inherently numerical, but there are feats based. Power levels, not just simply the power levels numerically like what is shown in Dragon Ball. All right, as well as tiers, the tier system. And I'll explain all that hopefully very briefly, but in its totality so that the viewers will understand what's going on. All right, very first, people like Seth the Programmer, Chirk the Cyber Cup, MJ from MJ TV, and Swag Kage, they all use feats. They are feat power scalers, all right? Now, feat power scaling, which a lot of people try to use and they use it piss poorly, by the way, very piss poorly, is utilizing what's showcased in a series, like they mentioned in Naruto, lightning timers. Can they react to lightning? All right. How fast does this character move in combat versus travel speed, things of that nature. Durability feats, how much can one tank? Destruction feats, whether town level, city level, planetary, solar level, solar system level, galaxy level, universal level, such as that, and beyond that, multiversal level. Feats like that, okay? And we see how many tons someone can lift, all that kind of good stuff. And it helps to compare and contrast a bunch of abilities. Now, those are phenomenal, and you learn some phenomenal information. I tend to not do that. I am on the later side of the matter with the power levels and the tiering systems, because although those definitive feats can be good, there's way too many outliers. If you know anything about statistics, you have crazy outliers like on the high end and on the low end. So people just be pulling out feats, and it's like, bro, that's not even a consistent feat. People do that with Superman Kal-El all the time. I happen to know the character, and I see the feats that they bring it up. I'm like, bro, that's not what Superman brings to the table. Y'all need to stop. That's not Superman consistently. Just because he did one thing in one story does not mean he's consistently like that. You have to be able to do that with comics. You have to be able to do that with stories. Very few characters have purely a certain mold, unless it's a linear progression of exponential growth, which we see a lot more in anime and manga, but sometimes even them, it gets a little screwy, especially if they're episodic. Now, with power levels, for example, in One Piece, if I say Vice Admiral level, if I say above Vice Admiral level, above Admiral level, and Yonko level, we have a set standard of abilities or just around. And then you can put characters who don't fit in certain things, see how they compare, or we can speculate. Now, a lot of people be coming up with these levels that don't make sense, like Shichibukai level. There's no level because it doesn't have a defined set standard. When you have a set standard, you can bring power levels into it. Naruto, you have Chunin level, you have Jonin level, you have Kage level. We see what levels we have above Kage level potentially. We see what kind of levels they bring to the level. In the case of Naruto, God level. There's no such thing as a high tier and God tier, and I'll get to that in a second. But God level, because we see, or the demigod level, in the case of Naruto and Sasuke, after they get the Sage of Six power-ups, they were demigod level. And then you had the God levels, with the Sage of Six Paths and such, Kage and all that. Now, and then Naruto and Sasuke did rise up, but you get my point. We get able to scale off of that. When it comes to tiering, all right, well, before I get to tiering, I'll drop Dragon Ball Super, for example, or Bleach, then Dragon Ball Super. In Bleach, you had vice captain level, you had captain level, you had zero squad division level, if you will. You have a leveling system, once again. And when it comes to Dragon Ball Super, specifically, you had God of Destruction level, you have Angel level. You get my point. And we are able to gauge from there. Or just, God level. Well, God level with Son Goku's Super Saiyan God. All right, we can gauge in there. God of Destruction level, we see where are they there, are they not there. Angel level, we see are they not there. And it's simple. And there's other levels, but you get my point. Now with tiering, I've said it like this. There are 3 basic tiers. Again, there's no high tier, no God tier. God tier doesn't exist because it just doesn't. Characters, it doesn't even make sense, because in some series you have actual gods, right? Or you have a God Almighty. You have different sets of gods. It just doesn't work. And they vary in power and strength. That's just not how it works. When it comes to high tier, that's either overrating or is downplaying characters. You can't do that. There is normally low tier, and in most series like One Piece, that's most of the characters. Then there's mid tier, and then there's top tier. I'm pretty sure you can get how it works. The top, or the top of the food chain. The mid, or a lot of people. Now, it can be broken down to low tier, low mid tier, mid tier, top mid tier, low top tier, mid top tier, and top tier. But it does get crazy because a series like, let's say, the Baki series, there are a lot more top tiers than, let's say, low top tiers or mid top tiers. The mid, they're just mid tiers because it doesn't really focus. There's not as many fighters, and it doesn't focus a lot on the lower end of the. So it doesn't always have a simple template. But the tiering system I love because it makes things simple and more streamlined. The levels can be problematic, as well as the I do use them to more the simple quick, and the feats are great for placing and stuff, but they can